The gentleman from Georgia, Mr. Hice, is recognized for his 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you all for being here. Mr. Horowitz, I know there's probably limited conversation you can have on this regarding the Pfizer report, and I'm not going to try to go too deeply, but just some questions for understanding. I know this is something the President wants as much as possible to be known to the public, and I think the American people deserve to know how all this debacle began. But I also know that a lot of it was classified. Can you just generally say percentage-wise about how much of that report is classified?
I'm not going to get into percentages of reports at this point. I'll just say, as we wrote to our oversight committees, including this committee and Ranking Member Jordan, we've provided a draft of our report for classification marking purposes. So what the percentage is precisely will depend on what the Attorney General and the Department and the FBI decide after they evaluate it. And that's the process it's in right now.
Okay, are you working with the Department of Justice to have some of that declassified?
Right now, what we've done is meet with the folks at the Justice Department and the FBI to tell them what we've done so far. They have the draft of the factual information that we've developed. We've talked through the classification issues with them, but it's ultimately up to them to decide what's going to be marked and how it's going to be marked or how it's not going to be marked. That's normal process. That's how it would occur. We may weigh in once we see it back as to what our views are,
okay.
As to any disagreements.
So there could be a point that you would weigh in.
That's correct.
Okay.
That is usual process. These rarely go in a one straight line process.
Okay, gotcha. Regarding Attorney John Durham, are y'all in any discussions about what he's finding and what you have found?
I'm going to defer to him and the Attorney General on that issue as to what they're doing. I have had communications with him, but it's really, they're a separate entity he's working under the direction of the Attorney General. I'm obviously independent.
Do you know if he has found any of the same concerns that you were concerned about?
You'd have to ask him on what he's found. I'm not in a position to speak for him.
Okay. Well, let's go over to the Comey report that did come out, if we can. You had mentioned that, obviously he failed in some of his responsibilities to protect some sensitive information, and you referred to his actions at one point as a dangerous example. Can you elaborate a little bit of what you meant by that term that he said a dangerous example?
Yeah, we were particularly focused on the providing of information in the memo that was really a recording of his meeting, investigative meeting, to a journalist to put in the newspaper. That was not classified information. That particular memo didn't have classified information. Our concern there and why we referred to it that way is we have instances in my office. I've had this example as a federal prosecutor in corruption cases previously, where the law enforcement agents you're working with or who have worked on a matter may think a decision was not made for the right reasons. And our concern was empowering FBI directors or frankly any FBI employee or other law enforcement official with the authority to decide that they're not going to follow established norms and procedures because in their view, they've made a judgment that the individuals they're dealing with can't be trusted.
So the fact that he was in the highest position of the FBI would add to your level of concern?
Correct.
Now you actually referred criminal prosecution to the Department of Justice for Comey, correct?
We're required by the IG Act to send information that we've identified that could plausibly be criminal to the department, and we've...
That's pretty monumental. Do you know of any FBI director who in the past has ever had a criminal prosecution?
I wouldn't know as I sit here today.
Or any other head of any federal agency?
I do actually, so
okay.
But I'll keep that.
All right, and the same type referral applied to
Same issue.
McCabe as well.
Right.
Is
The
that correct?
the IG Act requires me to expeditiously report to the Attorney General when I see evidence that could be considered criminal, and we follow the law.
Okay, thank you very much.
I thank the gentleman.